To the chagrin of Burlington students and the delight of parents, the first day of school is nearly 2 weeks away. However, Burlington Public Schools have been working hard through the summer on improvements to the facilities and curriculum. Superintendent Dr. Eric Conti.
There was a statement of interest submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority for a high school renovation, which would include updating the heating and air conditioning units that are part of this building. And again, you have to remember this building is 360,000 square feet. It's a large building, and we did have some upgrades done as a bridge to get the boilers through another couple winter seasons. So that's the work we did this summer. The Pine Glen roof was the sections that were over the academic wing and the cafeteria and the gymnasium, and those were completed and done. And then we just had a lot of other smaller projects happening, a lot of major cleaning going on. Our custodial staff, maintenance staff did a fantastic job this summer, like they always do. And I think there's this misperception that teachers don't do anything over the summer. We have teachers here all summer. There's actually some teachers sitting out in the school committee room now doing some pre-planning. Last week we had 30 elementary teachers in doing a responsive classroom training, which is a training on some social emotional learning for elementary students. The week before that we had another group in, so we have teachers here all summer working on curriculum.
Assistant Superintendent Patrick Larkin on the district's professional and curriculum updates.
We're making a little bit of a move to try to get better at using something called Open Educational Resources. An acronym OER is used a lot of times for that. And again, people have talked about this. I don't want people to be misled, but it's basically a transition from buying things from publishers like old textbooks or traditional textbooks, not old textbooks, and moving to some free online resources that might be available. But it's a large undertaking. It's not something where we say, we're throwing all our textbooks away or we're never going to buy another textbook. It's really just looking at what's out there. Are there quality resources that we can use that are going to save us money and maybe allow us more flexibility because they're available digitally? So again, that's something we're looking at. We're starting to study. We're doing a little bit of work in a couple areas. But teachers and students, I don't think we'll see a huge change in the way they do business in that regard, but it's just something people may hear some conversations about. We have curriculum that meets the needs of everyone in our district, that it's culturally sensitive, it's not a slanted point of view, but those are things that we've been doing all along, so it's something again that we continue to do each summer and make sure we're aligned to the Common Core, that things are up to date that way.
Common Core and Park standardized testing have been hot-button topics in recent years and have been going through some changes here in Massachusetts.
I think we've had a lot of things come at us over the last few years with, the changes in testing online, which has been a change for teachers and students.
There's a new state assessment, and it's called MCAS 2.0. It's actually technically not Park, even though they're using Park questions. It's a little bit confusing, but I think the state board again voted to go to an MCAS 2.0. There
was a lot of feelings about Park and testing online, and so Massachusetts, again, our test scores have always been, some of the top in the world. If you rated Massachusetts against other countries, we're usually up near the top. So there was this thing in Massachusetts, do we really need to make some of the drastic changes that are happening in other states, maybe that haven't done traditionally as well?
And they're hoping that every district in the state will be administering the test on a computer by 2019. And so we're doing it now, but again, there are about 350 school districts across the state of Massachusetts that have to implement this as well.
We're not really a test-driven school district. I think sometimes, unfortunately, with some districts that are struggling, they're in line to be taken over by the state. I mean, I think unfortunately the culture can become very test-driven, which they're just worried about the standardized test and getting kids ready for that. But I think here we're looking at some higher level things. So in our test scores, again, continue to be high average to above that.
While navigating the procedures and scores of standardized testing, the focus of Burlington schools is on quality instruction in each classroom.
We've done a lot of hiring this summer. We have, I think, about 25 individuals that we've hired, mostly for existing positions, but we have some new positions coming in. We're very pleased. Again, I've met all of them. Very excited to have very talented new people. Burlington is a desirable place to work, so we've attracted, I think, just some great talented people. And again, it's all about the talent of the people in front of kids.
The libraries at Burlington schools are being adapted for the culture and scholastic needs of the digital age.
What should the library look like in this day and age? Certainly an elementary library is always going to be, have a good foundation of solid books for kids to come in and take out and read. But they're also looking at, how do we kind of pair that with the digital culture that's out there, and, how can we draw more people in? So we're seeing a close connection with our technology integration teachers at the schools, and our librarians are working very closely together. I think there's some investigation about maker spaces in some of the elementary schools, which again are just spaces that kids can go into and try a variety of different tools to problem solve and be creative. And so I think we're trying to change what that looks like. So that's a work in progress. So that'll be exciting this year.
The lower library at the Burlington High School is being upgraded to fit the modern day applicability.
Mark Sullivan, the principal, and the teachers are changing the schedule a little bit. They're trying to do more collaborative learning, interdisciplinary learning, and so they're trying to have that space support that.
One of the things you try to do here in the real world, right, where we're preparing our kids for that, they need to be prepared to go in and work collaboratively and problem solve, and we're trying to create some of these spaces that you would see and say a Google or some of these innovative companies, they have these big open spaces. So again, that's a big open space anyway. We're not changing a lot, but I think he's putting some more creature comforts in place to attract people to be there, and I think it'll be an exciting space for people to utilize.
Burlington schools are ready for the fast approaching school year, and their forward thinking not only prepares our young people for the real world, but the developing roles that they'll play in the future to come.
If you're in Burlington, and I don't come from Burlington, this will be my 10th year this year, so I feel fortunate to have that tenure here. But the more I talk to my colleagues from other places around the state, again, I realize how fortunate we are to have the resources that we have here and the support of the town and the school board and so forth down the line. And we have a pretty healthy relationship in town with all the different boards and work pretty well together, and I think that's allowing us to continue to move forward. We're not getting bogged down in low-level conversations surrounding things that don't have to do with classrooms and student learning. So it's a good place to be, and we're fortunate. I'm fortunate to be here, and hopefully kids and parents feel that way. And if they don't, I think we're trying to continue our outreach, and we're going to get negative feedback, and we don't say we're right about everything we do here, but we want to have constructive conversations to continue getting better.
It's an honor to be here. It's if you're going to do my line of work, this is the great place to do it. So I really like this time of year. It's exciting. I love when the kids come back to school and the teachers come back. It's just the energy changes completely. So I know some people dread the end of summer. I always really look forward to the fall, and it's just a very exciting time is what I would say. And it's such an honor to work in Burlington, and it's just a very supportive community. The residents, the business community, the parents. Again, feel very fortunate to be here.
From Burlington Public Schools, I'm BNEWS Reporter Tad Stephanak. Back to you in the studio.